Senator Menendez.
Thank you. Thank you to our witnesses. I'd like to start with an important issue for New Jersey and many other communities represented by members on both sides of the committee. As part of your plan, Treasury is recommending that FHFA solicit information on whether to tailor support for higher principal balance loans, which any reasonable person would interpret to mean that Treasury is seeking to lower conforming loan limits. Doing so would have a seriously negative impact on the housing markets in states like New Jersey. So, Secretary Mnuchin, why would you recommend that the FHFA, quote, solicit information on whether the FHFA should effectively lower conforming loan limits if Director Calabria asserts that the FHFA does not have the authority to administratively change conforming loan limits?
Congress has the responsibility on loan limits, and any changes would require Congress. Having said that, we always think it's important to solicit information on the markets, and specifically in New Jersey, we don't want to do anything to jeopardize the housing markets in New Jersey, and I completely understand in the tri-state area the cost of living is significantly higher.
Yeah, it's not just the tri-state area. There are many places in the country in which...
There are many, but I was just referring to New Jersey and the places around it.
For me, it's not just simply, it is an important local issue, but it's not a parochial issue alone. So you do agree then, as Director Calabria said in his testimony in his nomination hearing, that he does not have the authority to administratively change those conforming loan limits.
I'm going to defer to him on his legal analysis, but I think our legal analysis is that's Congress's responsibility.
Director Calabria is still the same as when you testified in your conference?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you very much. So we've established that. Now let me turn to the multifamily rental housing, which is a critical part of the housing market in New Jersey and across the country. More than 18 million households in the United States live in multifamily rental housing, including 1 million New Jerseyans. The GSEs play a vital role by ensuring that multifamily housing is widely available through the economic cycle. As you know, the multifamily businesses at Freddie and Fannie perform quite well and remain profitable during the worst of the financial crisis, a time in which we saw most private investors exit this segment of the market entirely. Secretary Mnuchin, the Treasury report recommends that Treasury and FHFA should consider limiting support of the GSE's multifamily business. We heard from witnesses before this very same committee in the multifamily industry in March that private capital alone cannot fill the void that would be left without GSE financing. And that would mean aggravating the housing crisis that already exists in states like New Jersey and across the country, leaving renters with fewer and more expensive housing options. Have you conducted any analysis on what private sector financing for the multifamily housing market would look like if the GSE's capacity to purchase multifamily loans is curtailed as described by your plan?
Well, I'm not sure we necessarily think it's curtailed. I think we just need to look at it in the risk context. And I know there are external people who thought the GSEs should get out of the multifamily business. I don't agree with that. I think that the GSEs absolutely need to be in the multifamily business. I would say that more broadly, there are issues given the GSE's exposure in multifamilies. There are obviously certain rent control rules and others that have now, I'm concerned, are going to limit the housing stock. So we absolutely
you didn't conduct an analysis here. Let me ask you this other question as a follow-up then. What makes you confident that the private market can fill the void, or do you not believe that the private market can fill the void?
I'm not saying that the private market can or can't fill the void. What we're going to continue to do more analysis. We're just saying that we want to make sure that the GSEs have the appropriate risk. So we very much support multifamily lending with the GSEs.
Finally, Secretary Carson, on a different but urgent matter, in previous cases where lead was found in drinking water systems, federal assistance was critical in helping communities remediate their water systems and reduce potential lead exposure. As I'm sure you know, the city of Newark recently discovered elevated lead levels from some limited water samples. I've already called on the EPA to provide on-the-ground support and technical assistance, but I believe HUD needs to be part of the solution as well. In 2016, HUD assigned a full-time staff member to assist HUD residents in the greater Flint region and provide technical assistance to city and state agencies. So I want to ask you, Mr. Secretary, as the city of Newark and the surrounding communities continue to address this issue, would you commit that if HUD-assisted properties are affected, you will assign a full-time staff member to assist both HUD residents and city and state agencies looking to tailor their CDBG funding to mitigate the risks of lead?
Well, thank you, Senator, for your interest in this. And thank you for the help that you gave us on the carbon monoxide poisoning as well. As you've noted in our budgetary request, over the last 2 to 3 years, we've placed a great deal of emphasis on lead and on communities that are affected by it. So I will commit to continuing to do that and continuing to raise the profile of this issue in New Jersey and elsewhere.
I appreciate that, but my specific question, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate your indulgence a moment, is would you commit, as we did in Flint, to have a person who is designated for Newark and the surrounding communities that are affected by this to assist them as it relates to the flexibility that has been shown in the past in CDBG funding?
I will commit to doing everything that we possibly can do to alleviate the problem there. And if that involves a specific person or a dozen specific people, we will do what is necessary.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.